Hi, I'm Adam Mertz of the Wisconsin State Journal and madison.com, joined by Greg Giesen of the Racine Journal-Times. We're here at Miller Park in the wake of the Brewers' 11-5 loss to the St. Louis Cardinals on opening day. Greg, 173 days have passed since we were both here for NLCS Game 6. This felt like 6B.
It was ugly. I mean, that was an ugly game, and it started promising, but after that, they just started hitting home run after home run, and by the third inning, they weren't out of it, but it sure didn't seem like they were in it that much. By the time the fifth inning had passed, it was over with. I mean, they did not look anything like the team that you would expect on opening day against your main rival and World Series champions, and the same team that knocked you out last year. I mean, you would think you would be up for that. And at first they were, but, you know, when the other team knocks the ball around like they did, and meat of the order was doing it, you know, it's not going to be pretty.
And the Cardinals kind of showed that no Pujols on their side, no Fielder on the Brewers' side. I mean, for today anyway, their lineup looked a lot more potent. Those guys up at the top, as you mentioned, and adding Beltran into that mix.
Well, it was Beltran with a homer, you had Holiday with a homer, you had Freese with a homer. The middle of their order did everything that you expect a middle of the order to do. Conversely, the Brewers got their 3, 4, and 5 hitters had one hit, which was a Hart double, 2 walks by Hart, and Ramirez and Braun both took offers. You can't do that against the St. Louis Cardinals and have any hope of winning. You can't expect the bottom of the lineup or just the top of the lineup to produce a victory for you. Not when you're giving up runs like you were today.
And Giovanni Gallardo is the guy who is on the receiving end of this. 3 home runs in 4 at-bats. 4 is his career high allowed for home runs. Did not seem like he was locating the ball well today. It seemed to be the main problem.
It was up, and he was falling behind. You can't fall behind good hitters. And one of the problems that Giovanni has is that he's thrown too many pitches. I mean, he does have a lot of strikeouts, that's a positive, but he doesn't go far into games. And when you're an ace, you want someone who's going to go far into games. You do want someone who's going to strike them out. But the most important thing is you got to get ahead of the hitters. He acknowledged he didn't do that. His command wasn't there. It was there in the pen before the game. He didn't bring it back out with them. He was frustrated about that. But, you know, still, he tried battling. And he even said the ball that Holiday hit out, he just hung. It was a curveball that hung. Well, that's going to get hit all the time. I mean, you hang it up there to a professional hitter, you get forced to throw fastballs and fastball counts. That's what's going to happen, and it's not pretty.
Interestingly, after the game, Lucroy went with his fluorescent fingertips again with the shadows today. He said that Giovanni was having a hard time with some of the signs, and he went even more deliberate. These things were like Baylor fluorescent yellow, his stickers that he had on his fingers. I mean, it seemed like there were some communication issues there too. We'll have to see how that shakes out. As Lucroy said afterward, he said, this is not the Yo that you're going to see.
You hope not. And the other side of that is, too, it seems like whenever he faces a team with a uniform that has red on it and 2 red birds, he's a different pitcher.
Yeah.
I mean,
1 in 9.
1 in 9, his ERA is above 6.
Yep.
In the playoffs, it was not very pretty, giving up 5 runs, or excuse me, no, 5 runs in 4 innings, and no, excuse me, it was the other way around. 4 runs in 5 innings, but either way, it's not good.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah. And lastly today, I mean, you can't go without saying the reception that Ryan Braun received here today. From the time he ran out in warm-ups before the game, when he was introduced at the start of the game, and especially when he took his first at-bat. Not that I was surprised at all, but it was deafening in here when he came to bat. There was no question about where people stood.
Yes, and I think for Ryan that was a very important thing. I mean, you can say, well, it's behind me. You can say, I'm not thinking about it. And he might not be. But it's always nice to know and to start the season in the nice warm embrace of your hometown fans and understanding that either A, they're behind you, or B, they're forgiving. Whichever way it is, it's a good feeling, and you can move forward with it. You know, he hit the ball pretty well in his first 2 at-bats, just didn't have any luck. You know, that's going to happen sometimes.
And we'll get to see. I mean, this is a guy who led the majors in All-Star voting last year. Perceptions change a lot. Gets to test it out at the friendly confines next week. That'll be the first time when he's exposed to that kind of situation. We know it's not going to be the same thing.
That's going to be a rough situation. I mean, you already have the bitterness of the rivalry to begin with, and now you're just adding this onto it. You know, it's probably not going to be anything like Barry Bonds' experience, but it's still not going to be good.
We'll see how it shakes out. As the players were, of course, quick to mention, this is 1 out of 162. Nothing to get too high or low about. They started 0-4 last year, wound up as division champs. It'll be an interesting season anyway. Greg, thanks for joining me, and thanks for joining us on this post-game wrap-up from Miller Park.